This is in New York City. New York City is done.
It's done.
It is fucking.
It's a rat nest.
I heard 92% of diners do not have
nothing
money for rent this next month.
Nope.
What do you think is going on with the Cuomo thing? You know, Cuomo's being sort of like, you know how they do? They sacrifice their servants.
They absolutely do.
You know,
that's part of like the whole neo-Bolshevik or former Bolshevik ritual is you get people who are the most vociferous advocates of the lie get publicly executed. Just to show that there is no beneficial arrangement when you're a pawn to this agenda. You're a disposable resource to them. Once you fulfill your role, if you don't keep, if you don't have any ongoing worth, then the establishment disposes of you. And that's probably happening to Cuomo to some extent. He's kind of run his course. He in 2020 proved effective at diverting a lot of New York attention away from Trump and creating his own little cult of personality around his orange and yellow and red zones, and how he's such a fearless leader and yada yada. And they needed him as like a limited hangout to just psychologically traumatize the citizens of New York and get them to engage in a kind of mass Stockholm syndrome.
I'm not surprised at all to hear that he may have been sexually inappropriate. You kind of just look at the guy and hear how he bullies people, and it's like, he's a major predator.
Oh, absolutely. and he was probably one of the few that not a lot of information came out about him related to Epstein. Probably because they needed him to come out and do this whole, Corona hoax operation in New York. So, because how much do you want to bet that he's been in Epstein Island?
Oh,
come on.
That's kind of big in New York, right?
Yeah. And it's still. That's the thing. It's like, just a little over a year ago, we were still on the heels of the faked suicide.
Right. And that was gaining a lot of traction.
Huge.
Well, look, we just posted this tweet that was, I don't know, shit biscuit on Twitter, but July 8th, 2019, very apropos. They say, I wonder which apocalypse, rage virus, alien invasion, etc., is going to happen to prevent half the world's leadership from being taken down by the Epstein trial. Boo. And we were I think I was pretty negative on the idea that the trial would result to anything, in because how these the justice system,
the injustice system,
can be played with people with resources.
Absolutely.
You it's really putting on a show in the trial, and that's if it ever got to trial. People don't realize how many steps there are, before it could get there. So at a minimum, he's in jail for years before any sort of justice. And of course, he would be able to argue for house arrest, and then it's just like you're not in jail.
It pretty much. Oh yeah, didn't he have to do some like ceremonial like sleepover at the jail? It was Alexander Acosta who, Department of Transportation, head under Trump. He gave him that sweetheart deal. So I think that the Epstein thing is still like a huge, like, bubbling under the surface realization.
Every once in a while, you'll see a report about how bad Ghislaine is doing in jail, and it's like, can we get an interview with her? media.
Right.
You're just going to report about, oh, she's concerned about getting COVID in jail. Like, I give a fuck, you know?
If it's even really her in jail.
Right. I mean, exactly.
Come on. I mean, you know, someone who has that much dirt on that many people with that many resources, who literally grew up in a castle, basically. You don't think that she's got the means to have a trigger woman? I mean, come on. I mean, at this point, you know, I still think that Epstein's, you know, drinking Mai Tais somewhere on some remote island. I mean,
probably in South America with Hitler, which came out that fucking happened.
Yeah,
that fucking happened. He didn't die in a bunker.
Nope.
He probably was on a submarine, or probably more likely a levitation craft of some sort. We know that the Germans were into that.
Yeah.
What were those guys called? The who were supposedly interfacing with transdimensional beings and getting high-tech downloads for the Nazi army.
Was
the
that
Vril Society?
The Vril,
right?
Yep, the Vril. Mm-hmm.
You described them previously as
the
being
Vril
like
Society. They were like Cousin It.
Cousin It.
You know,
yes.
they grew their hair long all the way down to basically their
That's
toes.
because they knew that it was an antenna, right?
Yeah.
The hair strands was an antenna to pick up
the
information.